Hello there. The gauntlet is thrown down. Nigel Farage is back, and this time he says there'll be no standing aside to help the Tories. Now, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and then like and comment below. Nigel Farage has come out fighting and says that the party that he is the honorary president of, Reform UK, will be standing a full slate of candidates in the next general election and will not stand aside for the Tories like they did in 2019. No deals, he says. Writing in the Telegraph, he points to the total paralysis within the Tory party leadership and its recent toadying up to Brussels. And his answer to critics saying that this will let Labour into government is, so what? And he's right. We no longer have a Conservative and Unionist party. It is just as socialist as Labour and will do just as much to destroy the UK. There can be no more pretence, Farage says. The recent imposition on us of Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt is nothing less than a coup, and any belief in a growth-driven strategy or of encouraging the enterprise of Britain's millions of small businesses has died, he writes. And he goes on to say that all we're left with is a high-tax, big state, social democrat betrayal of all that the Conservatives have ever stood for. And then there's the mess of inward migration, both regular and irregular, with hotels stuffed to the rafters, costing us £300,000 an hour. And as for the government's PR campaign telling us that our relationship with Brussels is improving, well, Farage says that's just signs of Rishi slacking on Brexit. I would go further and say that it reminds me of the guff coming out of Number 10 when David Cameron was touring the EU capitals, vainly trying to get concessions out of them before the 2016 EU referendum. And he came back with nothing. Now, although throwing his weight behind Reform UK, so putting to bed the possibility of a brand new party, Farage did not say he himself would be standing for Parliament or retaking control of Reform UK from the current leader Richard Tice. What he did say was that the extent of his involvement in the party would depend on the extent of the Brexit betrayal that's in the wind right now. So maybe it's a shot across the Tory bows. But the longer he leaves it, the harder it will become. And he does say in his piece that some Tory MPs are hoping they can turn the ship around. But Farage said, "Let me save them a lot of trouble. It isn't going to happen." If that's the case, then surely now is the time to re-engage fully and possibly start picking up one or two disaffected Tory MPs. That's what Farage did when he was the leader of UKIP with Douglas Carswell and Mark Reckless, and that was a real game changer. And it seems to me that there is a definite lack of energy within the government and wider establishment to do anything that might diverge the UK too far from EU regulations. It's almost like they're waiting for the right opportunity to whisk us straight back under EU control and ECJ jurisdiction. And one good way to do that is to tank the UK economy and then say, there's only one solution left. Now, a lot is being said about how bad the UK economy is doing right now. But according to the OECD, Brexit UK will lead the G7 in economic growth when the numbers for 2022 are all in. Yes, the OECD says that the UK will see 4.43% growth. Then comes Italy with 3.7%. Third will be Canada with 3.25%. In fourth is France with 2.55%, then the US with 1.85%, Germany in sixth with 1.77%, and finally Japan with 1.57%. Now, if it does pan out that way, Sunak and Hunt will be there ready to take the plaudits. But any economic growth the UK achieves in the coming months and years will be despite the Tories, not because of them and their no-growth plans. And now for something on the elites that rule us. Take it away, Richard.
Thank you, Jeff, and good morning. Now, I don't know about you, but I read the comments sections in the newspapers, and in the comment sections of the papers and social media, it is becoming increasingly clear that when it comes to being ruled by an elite upper class who appear to be religiously following a multifaceted and multi-faced agenda, the penny is beginning to drop with the public. And not a moment too soon either. You see, the masses are slowly realizing that for nearly 3 years they have been duped into believing things that simply are not true, and that we only live in an illusion of democracy, when in fact there are larger international bodies governing our lives, with a grip on what we do and what we say and what we think. Yes, there are still those who are finding it hard to let go of their face masks, but in general the people are starting to ask questions like, why did I need 3 medical interventions in the space of a year to keep me safe? And why are they not doing what they said they would do? But slowly people are beginning to ask the right questions. Could it be that the state lied to us? Why would our leaders lie to us? They wouldn't do that. What and who is behind the past 3 years, and when will it end? Who do we all owe this money to, and when will we be able to return to normal, as if the world was ever a normal and just place? You see, what we have just gone through redefines the stress parameters of the global psyche. We are now primed for the next wave of trauma, and next time it will be worse. And the G20 have just agreed to bring in vaccine passports to limit international travel for such an event of unspeakable trauma. Oh, you think that will be limited to just international travel? No. It will be extended to your every aspect of your life, to your very ability to leave the house or access your own money, which will be entirely digital in the not too distant future. Don't worry, I know how insane what I am saying sounds. But how will all this pan out when you have a large percentage of those in the population who have woken up to the control being exerted upon them by unelected organisations such as the WEF? Well, they have priced that in as well, because the behavioural response for most has been set by the last pandemic. But first, they will need to scare the living daylights out of everyone. Think Ebola, but twice as deadly and more transmissible than Omicron, and you're not even close, and that is how the common cold will be sold to the masses at that point. It's coming, and they are quite open about it coming. Or am I being a conspiraloon thanks to eating too much cheese before I went to bed last night? Time will tell. Back over to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Richard. And finally, when subscribing, please don't forget to press that little bell and also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. And thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the show.